It's good afternoon, John Broadbent. Welcome to Yellow Shelf.
Good morning, Joe, and thanks, or good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity to chat.
We were going to talk in the morning, but it's just hit afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations, your book, Man Unplugged.
Thank you.
Tell us all about it. What do we need to know about this book?
November 2012 or August 2012, I saw an ad in a wellness newspaper like you get from a health food store. And my partner at the time brought it home, and I every now and again get crazy and just sit down and read stuff that's, pretty crappy to tune out. And I'm reading this thing and I saw an ad for what's called a men's gathering in southeast Queensland, and I'm Sydney based. And I went, without hesitation, my heart just went, you've got to go. I had no idea what it was about, what it was for. But I've been involved in a little bit of men's groups and stuff before, but this is my first ever what's called a gathering. Anyway, I turned up there. There's 100 plus men. On the Friday afternoon, we line up, or Friday night, we line up in age order, so elders first, and then the 100 of us go down this hill into this massive natural amphitheatre. And as we sort of start to line up and form this huge circle, I think there must have been about 110 men. On the way up in the plane, I started writing the introduction to this very book. So that's November 2012. Yeah. And I actually say that in the book. I'm writing this, on the plane. And I'm standing in this circle, and as the circle started to fill up and the younger guys were coming down and the elders sort of first, to the left of me were the guys that were older than me, and to the right of me to the guys that were younger than me. And on the left, there was about 25, 30 guys, and on the right, there would have been, 70, 80 guys. Wow. And it suddenly sunk into me that, oh my God, that's how far I've come, and this is how much I've got left.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, it was a palpable wake-up call. And I came home from that event and I wrote 30,000 words in 30 days.
Wow.
To break the back of it, and I published it eventually. And then I sat on it because I was nervous, as a first-time author can be, worrying it's going to go to the editor and get torn to shreds, all that stuff. Anyway, I managed, got past that. I had a really great book mentor who gets mentioned in the book, in the thank yous. And I published in March 2014, and then that was it. We went out there. I got some, good reviews.
Yes.
But about 2 years ago, I realised that because I've had nearly a decade or more than a decade of extra fathering, I've got 23 and 17-year-old sons. I've been through a divorce, death of both parents, remarried, and for the last 10, 11 years been doing a lot of coaching, mentoring and retreat facilitation, specifically for men's events and retreats, both locally and overseas. And I've grown, obviously, within myself in my own personal development. I thought, you know what, I should go back and reread this. Yeah. Which I did, and went, oh man, I can improve that, I can improve that, I can improve that. And I was now in a position to add 2 more new chapters.
Yes.
One particularly being seasons of a man's life, which men are blissfully unaware of. Sure. And finally, the chapter on eldership, because I've been working in the elder facilitation space for the last few years. So prior to getting on with you, we were having a chat about the name of the book. So I want to share that with your listeners, because the original book was called Man Unplugged, Exploring the Inner Man. Yeah. And it was meant to be a bit of a sort of an allegorical, metaphorical journey about my own transformation from a shut down, emotionally unavailable engineer to a person that travelled the world during the 90s in some unusual circumstances, which are outlined in the book. Yeah. And then discovering that how to improve myself, particularly my self-worth and self-esteem, and become a more functional or a more professional human being.
Yeah.
And when I started to rewrite the book, I realised, well, is that really what it's about? And I realised that, as in the last 10 years talking with men, a man can be going through, say, a midlife passage around about the age of, in his 40s. We call it the midlife crisis, but it doesn't have to be. It's a midlife transformation. If we don't know what's happening, it can be a crisis. So when a man might be travelling through that and he hits something within himself that's causing him some grief, because we're taught from a very young age not to talk, not to share what's going on for us, below the surface, a man might then stumble and find his way almost inadvertently through his, long dark tea time of the soul and pop out the other side and feel quite good about the fact that he's survived reasonably unscathed. But he looks around and realises that no one's talking about it, so there must be just him that's having the experience. So he doesn't share it. So I renamed the book Man Unplugged, Secret Men's Business for Men and Those Who Love Them.
Yeah. And it's great. It's great that the book's been updated because I think, like you said, time, your own journey changes. It's relevant to what's going on in the wider world. I mean, you and I were sharing, being a man these days is far more complex.
Mhm.
Um, it's in this ever-changing world that we're in. And
Yes.
yeah, it's masculinity just, yeah, is such a difficult space to
Mhm.
kind of define, let alone get comfortable in. And I think the great thing about your book is you break it down, you talk about it, and you also offer solutions for men to look inwards.
And a few weeks ago, I was at a smaller gathering in Queensland with about 40 plus guys, but much older guys.
Yep.
And it was to honour some men who were stepping into a formal sort of eldership role within that men's community. I called myself the interstate interloper because I was the only person outside of Queensland at the gathering. And it was amazing to watch and be an observer to all of that because there is an underground movement in Australia in annual gatherings, in groups, events, and all this sorts of things that happen. And the idea of the book is really to encourage men to spend time with good men in the sense of men that have done some of their own inner work, have done some of their own healing work, who've resolved some of perhaps their younger ego, and have now sort of transitioned through life and moving into more a role of service. And I think when younger men spend time with older men in that role and they can get to see and have conversations with older men who've been through their midlife or been through divorce or been through grief and separation and deaths of parents and all those sorts of things, it's how it used to be. And that's the crazy thing, you don't have to go back far before eldership, both male and female, inside our societies was something that was revered. We'd go and talk to the older people because they were the wisdom keepers.
Yes.
But it's sort of the modern technological era. Older people have become effectively technologically redundant quite quickly.
Yeah.
And I still, I come from an industrial IT manufacturing engineering background, so I'm still highly competent in that space, but I still have to put a lot of time and effort into keeping up into the modern day. And so there's almost thing, well, you don't know anything because you're over 50 or 60 or whatever it is, so we're just going to park you in a nursing home,
Yeah.
and leave you to your own devices and watch crap on TV and drink soup, rather than tapping into sometimes extraordinarily aged wisdom where someone's lived 80, 90 years and has so much more to share.
Yeah. And you know what I love about the book is it just sort of breaks open that door, not to be closed-minded.
Hmm.
Yeah. John, if we're watching, if we're curious, if we think this book is something for us, for someone in our lives, how do we connect with you? I'll put your details in the show notes
Thank
and
you.
how to connect with you in the book. I know you've got a fabulous website. I was looking at it this morning. Tell us how we reach out.
So you can catch me on the website. There's a contact form there. My email is john@manunplugged.com.au. Happy to take emails from people who want to write to me.
Yeah.
The book has been sent through a distributor this time. I self-published last time, but this time I have a distributor. I believe 1st of October tomorrow is when their list goes out to bookstores as to who wants to pick it up. But I'm
Fabulous.
also working extensively at the moment with a publicist who's, getting me to speak and write articles and stuff like that. So I think I've got about 5 podcasts in October, some
Good.
local, some international. And also if you go online, you can find, Amazon, Booktopia, the standard sort of online
Yeah.
bookstores, as well as the PDF and EPUB versions for the e-readers. Um,
Yes.
so the ebooks are available as well online.
Catering for everyone. I'll put some links in to make it easy for anyone watching around the world to connect, to get curious about the book. John, thanks for writing it. Lovely to meet you.
You too. Thank you for your time.
Cheers.